Hi friends, welcome to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. If you're new here, we would love to have you click subscribe and hit that bell so you get notifications every time one of us uploads a new video. I'm Kim and I am really excited to share some Spellbinders goodies with you today. All of the products that I'm using today you will be able to find in the ScrapbookPal store, starting with these beautiful fashion spruce pearls. This is just one of the colors they have available. This is the one I chose. And you can see they come in a variety of sizes in the package. They're self-adhesive. Love them. So this is the Tinsel Time collection, and this is specifically the Dancing Gnome collection. So here I have this little interactive dancing gnome. You can see he comes with a tree stump, and he comes with that pine tree also. Then there is a dancing Santa. He's really fun. There's a dancing reindeer and a dancing snowman. And I'm going to make one of each of these today because I'm just dying of curiosity. All the cards are pictured with this really pretty sentiment set. It is a die set, so you get word dies and shadow dies to go with it, and that is called the Tinsel Time sentiment set. And then there is the dancing holiday sentiments, or just regular stamps, and they have some really whimsical sentiments in there, and then some really heartfelt sentiments in there. And another coordinating product you will find in the store is this 3D embossing folder. This is called Dimensional Diamonds. I was very curious about it because I haven't used an embossing folder in a really long time. So it turns out that I did not have the proper embossing plate because that's something you purchase separately. So I didn't have the proper embossing plate to use this embossing folder, so I just added some cardboard shims to make a sandwich that worked, and I love how beautiful the dimension on this dimensional diamond embossing folder is. It is so pretty. I'm really looking forward to adding it to one of my cards. And you can see it's really big. I think that's like 5.5 by 8.5 too, by the way. So I'm just going to cut it down to be 4 inches by 5.25 so that I have a little border on my A2 size card. And I'm just going to use this small piece here. I just did put an entire half sheet of cardstock in there, and you can see both sides of this are gorgeous. I really love the raised grid pattern, so that's the part I'm going to have facing up and that I'm going to use. And I decided that I wanted to add a little bit of color to it because I think I'm going to put the snowman. Here you can see I've gone ahead and I've die cut out all the pieces for the snowman. I've actually got all 4 of the different die sets with the pieces cut out. So I'm just experimenting. I pulled out the speckled egg distress oxide, and I'm using one of my the largest honey bee stamps blending brush that I have, and I'm just skimming it along the top of that. I just want the color on the grid, and I don't actually even want to cover the whole grid on that paper. I don't want to cover I just want to sort of put some color on in the center part of the grid here where I'm going to put my snowman. And I love the way this looks. It's subtle, and I like subtle, but it'll be enough to make that white snowman pop off that white background. And I love this dimension. Like, it's so pretty. I'm thinking that I'm definitely going to play with these 4 different die sets and the embossing folder for my Christmas cards because they just come out so cute, and I kept them pretty simple. So I did take some shimmer spray and just spritz that a little bit because I wanted a little bit of like shine on there or sparkle. I tend to have a bunch of random bottles of ink sprays or sparkly sprays sitting next to me at all times. And once you get them, they last forever. So it's a nice thing to have in your stash if you don't have anything like that in your stash. This is also a great time to pull out all those snow products that you have in your stash that you've been purchasing and not using, pull those out and use them on the backgrounds for cards like this. So I decided that I would just take some leftover cardstock and just, put a piece on the back of that snowman's belly to create the buttons. Instead of die cutting out those little tiny buttons and trying to pop them in place, I just decided I'll just put some colored cardstock on the back, and I like the way this looked. It was easier. The parts are really small, and you will notice that I'm using my reverse tweezers and I'm using a craft pick. And ScrapbookPal has a couple different craft picks and a couple different kinds of reverse tweezers, or brands of reverse tweezers. They're all good. They all work. You definitely want those kinds of tools for this kind of project. There are a lot of little pieces, and this is the kind of project where I put on a movie, I do all my die cutting and try to stay really organized. I have a tray I organize my stuff on, and then I'll put things together, and you can do a lot in an afternoon of movie watching while doing this. So it's one of my favorite things to do. It's so relaxing just building these little cards. So I decided that I would add some black for the eyes and the buttons, and I'm going to add some pink and orange for the cheeks and the carrot nose. So I'm just grabbing a couple of my Copic markers, and I'm just going to scribble onto a piece of white cardstock. This is just a scrap piece of paper that I just probably cut this off another piece of scrap paper just to fit behind it, and I'll trim it down so it works behind the nose and the cheeks there that have the little openings in them, and I'll glue that on the back, and that will add a little bit of color to my snowman's face in a pretty easy way. You can die cut out all those pieces from colored cardstock if you want to and pop them in place. That works too, but I decided I would just add a little color with some Copics and some ink and cardstock and make it easier. So now it's just a matter of building each little critter. So I'm going to show you this one, and then I will show you the cards that I created. So I'll show you this card, and then I've got 3 other cards to share with you because I really enjoyed this. Like, this is a really pleasant way to spend an afternoon. And turn a Christmas movie on and make your cards or get your cards started. And you can do this in a couple afternoons. Do your die cutting one afternoon, put your critters together the next afternoon, and maybe you want to spend a morning or an afternoon making your backgrounds, and then you can put them all together. So you'll definitely want to get some of these. Are the scrapbook adhesive. I always call them pop dots, but I don't think they're called pop dots. They're adhesive dots, and you can get them in the ScrapbookPal shop. They also have square ones. These are the round ones, and they're the smaller round ones. They're like maybe 1/8 of an inch. They're pretty small, and you want those because the legs, notice, have the large circle opening. One of those pop dots will go inside there and then allow those legs to move around that circular pop dot. So it works really well. So here you can just see I put the scarf between the head and the body. Now I'm adding the furry bits which is just white cardstock. I'm adding those to the hat. So the little pom-pom and the little fur strip gets added on, and I'm adding some red gloves and red skates to the arms and legs. And I considered actually cutting the arms and legs out in red and making the skates and gloves black. So you can do any combination here that you want to. And I just tried to use a variety of different colors on each card so the cards were fairly colorful. And you can see I'm using my little tool and I'm sliding things with my fingers. The end of that, that's a We Are Memory Keepers tool that that I bought at ScrapbookPal, and it's sticky on one end and it's got a craft pick on the other end, which is very nice to just like pick up with the sticky side, get something to stick on, and then flip it over and really wiggle something in place with the craft pick part. So you can see I'm just building it all together, and the packaging on this shows you a finished product so you can figure out where things should go if you need to look at something, which is always really nice. It's nice to have that. ScrapbookPal also has finished examples on their website, so you can just go to the store and search for the Dancing Snowman, and there you have it. So the snowman's all put together. I have not attached the legs. The legs are going to be attached in a different way. So the snowman came with a little gift package, and it had a couple parts. It had a piece to put like a darker band across the package, so it looks like a stack of packages really. And then it had a piece for the bow, which I die cut out of some gold metallic scrap. Now all of the die cutting I did today, I did on scraps of cardstock that I had sitting around. I didn't use any new cardstock. These are all scraps. That's what I love about projects like this. I can use up my scrap cardstock and my scrap pattern papers. Like imagine using pattern papers for that package, or maybe you have some really fun pattern paper that would make great hats for these little dancing creatures. That would be fun too. So the snowman also came with this little tree. It's got a star and a little base. So I cut them out of the appropriate colors. I have gold, green, and brown there. And I'm just gluing them, the package and the tree, to the snowman's hands, so it looks like the snowman is holding them. So here's my background. It's all dry. I put it aside to dry, and I'm just going to attach my pieces. So I'm going to start with this little, the little round foam dots. Now I used some square dots to put on the back. I put like toward that head and then around the neck area, and then I added some foam dots on the back of the snowman. And here you can see I'm adding the round one to the legs to hold the legs in place, and then the snowman will get attached to the top there, so that will not fall off, because that little round dot is attached to the card base and the top of the snowman. So that puts it in place, and they will wiggle. And I forgot to show you there how they wiggle. I'll show you in just a minute here because it's too much fun. So here's a dancing gnome. I used shaded lilac, speckled egg, and tumbled glass for the background and blended them in. Did a little bit of spritzing here with some watered down white ink to add some snowfall look. You can see the spruce pearls. I love them. I used all different sizes. I really like adding a variety of sizes of pearls. And here I'm shaking it. You can see the legs are moving. And here's where I realized probably shouldn't have put a pearl down, not by the dancing legs. So I'll be moving that one pearl there over to the left. You can see the tree. And when I put the tree together, the top piece seemed to be wanting to tilt. I felt like it added to the whimsy of the card. Like these are whimsical cards. I think they're really fun. And here's the Santa with his dancing legs. Again, I have those pearls dangerously close to the legs, so keep that in mind. I used the Tinsel Time sentiment dies here to add Santa time. And I have to say, those are tiny bits. And if I'm doing 50 cards, I'm not going to be adding those sentiments to every card. Only really special people in my life will get the Tinsel Time die cut sentiments like that. I love the way they look. Love, love, love them. But those will be a lot of like careful work. So special people, if you get one of those from me, feel really good about yourself. Because yeah, my mother will get one of those, and maybe my sister. So here's the reindeer. Again, his legs move. I used one of the the dancing holiday sentiments on each one of these. I love this diamond dimensional embossing folder that I used on the back of the Snowman. Now for the reindeer, I just used a wash and a spritz, and for the other two, I just did some ink blending. The Santa, I just used one color. The other one, I used a blend of colors. So I tried to do a different variety of color mats behind them just because. Now, tools, you definitely want to have some good tools, like the jewel picker with the craft pick was a really nice thing to have. The reverse tweezers were really nice to have. Those really make it easier. ScrapbookPal has all of these kinds of things, and you can pick the ones you want. I highly recommend sentiment dies. Like those sentiment strip dies really help keep your sentiments nice and straight. So that's a lovely thing to have. When you do the elf hat, this was the one tricky part. I had to figure this out here. I die cut one piece in just the large open hat piece. The red piece has to be cut with the two together because the outside part will actually be attached to the inside bit. So you need both of those pieces together. You'll definitely want round adhesive dots, foam adhesive dots. You might even want to consider putting two of them together to really let that swing. And I think the smaller ones will probably work better because they'll fit in all of the circles there. And you can see how cute these turned out and how fun. So I hope you like them. You'll find all the links below. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let us know which one of those critters you like the best, which one's your favorite. So you can check out all the links for the products I used today below. And I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy these whimsical cards and feel inspired to create some of your own. Thank you for watching, friends. Have a very creative day.